What's going on, guys, and welcome to December's episode of Plus Club, the show where we play the games offered on PlayStation Plus throughout the month, and at the end of the month, we talk about it like a book club. My name's Seth, and joining me today is Chevy. Chevy, this is the last episode of Tasty Loot Gaming of 2022. How you feeling about that? How you feeling in general? And are you excited to talk about Biomutant, Mass Effect Legendary Edition, and Divine Knockout, the games we played in December?
I don't know how. I won't say too much, but we will talk about the games for sure. As far
That's
as
why we're here.
The year goes, it one of the first times I feel like it didn't fly by, which was nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Especially in the last couple of years, it's like the most normal-ish feeling year in a while. So,
Oh yeah.
a lot of great games that we played throughout the year. We talked about that on our last episode, which was our Game of the Year and Runner-Up episode. Make sure to check that out if you're curious about what our Game of the Year was and our Runner-Ups. We also talk about biggest disappointments, biggest surprises, and stuff like that. But, yeah. I feel like the year did fly by. I feel like it wasn't that long ago when we were doing like anything earlier this year, and now I'm just like, the year's over. We're like already going into 2023, and I'm already starting to think about 2023 games now. So pretty crazy, but it's been a good year. It's been a good year for the channel, and it's been a good year for gaming. So can't wait to find out what happens in 2023. Hopefully things stay normal feeling, and we get some awesome games to play. All right, so with that, we got to talk about Biomutant, Mass Effect, and Divine Knockout. But before that, let's talk about the games that are coming out in January, which is right around the corner. And those games are Jedi Fallen Order, Fallout 76, Axiom Verge 2. Chevy, how you feeling about these games?
If I'm not mistaken, Axiom Verge was one of like the first Plus games I think we did on the show.
I've never played Axiom Verge, but you bought it when it came out.
Oh, right. It's a Metroidvania style game, if I'm not mistaken. I remember thinking it was pretty all right. Surprised it made a second one, to be honest.
Me too. But it was well received when it came out.
Yeah. No, the second one, you mean? Or just in general?
The original Axiom Verge.
The first one was pretty cool. Yeah.
I heard nothing but great things about it.
Fallout 76 is going to be definitely a thing. I don't know how to put that into words. I never thought I'd actually play that game, so this will be interesting. And then I'm not a big Star Wars fan, but I know that people like that game, so I guess I will see what they are talking about.
Yeah. I'm actually really excited for this month because these are three games that I have played Fallout 76 for like 5 seconds, but not enough to really get into it. But these are all games I haven't played. This is kind of a rarity for me. So
True.
And the thing that's the best about this is Jedi Fallen Order is a game I've been told a million times I got to play. I've had people constantly going like, did you play it? Did you play it? Did you play it? It was so good. You got to play it. You got to play it. And I love Respawn. I like old Star Wars. And I like the type of game it is. But I'm not into the Disney Star Wars. So the story, I'm just like, I have no real big interest in. And so it's been kind of hard for me to really push myself to play it. Well, now here it is coming out on PlayStation Plus, and that kind of alleviates that for me because now I will get to play it, see what the fuss is all about, see if it's as good as everyone said, and maybe get excited for the new one that they've just announced. And that we saw, I think it was at the Game Awards that we watched the trailer for that. I don't remember. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to actually finally playing that without having to pull the trigger on it myself. Fallout 76 is a game that I also wrote off and decided I was never going to play. And then I made a video about it on TikTok, and I had so many people tell me that they like the game a lot and I should give it a try. And I was like, that is crazy. And a lot of them acknowledged, they're like, yeah, it sucked when it came out, but like it's really good now. And I'm like, fuck. So I downloaded it on Game Pass, and that was the first mistake. I don't play games when I have them on Game Pass. I had it installed, and I played it for a little bit, and reserve what I thought of it from what I did play. But I'll be really curious to try this out because this is an online multiplayer game that we should all just probably play together to check it out. I think it'll probably be the best experience for us if you can easily hop in the same server. I feel like you can. People say they play with their friends. So this will be interesting because it'll either be a big surprise where we go, hey, Fallout 76 is actually better than we thought, or we can just fucking trash on it a little bit. That'll be fun too. We don't do that enough on this channel, and I'm not going to really change anything to make sure that starts happening, but every once in a while we get to kind of pick something apart, and maybe that'll be that game, but maybe it won't. So it's win-win. And then Axiom Verge 2, I never played the first one. I heard great things about it. So I look forward to playing the sequel, and I didn't hear anything about this one, though. Like, I knew it came out, but no one talked about it that I know, so I'll be interested. But overall, just like this year, January is starting out really strong. Apparently, PlayStation really likes to make sure their early months of PlayStation Plus start out really strong. I feel like they kind of fade later in the year too, but that's probably because they know people are going to be outside a lot during the summer. It's always like during the colder months they start offering better games. So really interesting. Yeah, so before we jump into the games we got to talk about, though, real quick, our game of the month is Code Vein, and we will be discussing that with the holidays and stuff. It's been kind of rough to film, and then New Year's is coming up. I will be busy on New Year's, so we're going to try and get that episode out probably on the 1st of January, but if it's delayed by like one day, maybe the 2nd, I want to get out on the 1st. You understand, but we'll be playing, or we have played, Code Vein, and we'll be reviewing it, so make sure to join us for that. And then also make sure to join us for Game of the Month, because I completely forgot that January is my month to pick Game of the Month, so I have been thinking about that today on what game I should pick for us to play for Game of the Month. So, yeah, show up for that conversation and find out what I pick. Okay, so with all that said, let's jump into the games we played, which were Biomutant, Mass Effect Legendary Edition, and Divine Knockout. I feel like we should probably hop into Divine Knockout first. If you didn't get a chance to play Divine Knockout, it is a platform fighting game, but 3D. It's similar to like Smash Bros. Or like Multiverses, but you run around on a 3D realm. Honestly, it feels a little more similar to an older game that some of you might have not played back in the day called Power Stone, without the objects, as far as I know. The theme is you play as different gods from different cultures. They have like, Norse mythology. They had some Japanese stuff in there. A bunch of random characters. The game has a cartoony aesthetic. And yeah, you go into these arenas where you play 3v3, 2v2, and 1v1. And you beat people up. You build up their percentages so you can knock them out of the ring. And you unlock cosmetics. And it seemed like skills that you can swap out for other ones, which kind of remind me of Multiverses, which I thought was interesting. Since that game hasn't been out that long, this game feels like it's influenced by it fairly heavily. We both played it, and let's start with you when it comes to your impressions of Divine Knockout in December.
Okay. So yeah, played the game a little bit. Played through the tutorial. Got a feel for what kind of game it was. Decided to play. I think I only played one match, and I think it was against an NPC. Didn't finish the match. Shut the game off and deleted it. So I did not enjoy I don't like this kind of game anyways. Mm-hmm. And then this was like almost everything I don't like about. Well, a lot of things. I don't like the way it looks. I think the mechanics feel weird and kind of almost I don't know how to word this, but too snappy, like in a lock-on way. Mm-hmm. That it doesn't feel very fluid, and I don't enjoy Smash likes or brawler style fighting games at all. I think I don't like the formula. And it just felt kind of almost like a cheap mobile game in a lot of ways too. So I just couldn't bring myself to play it more than the one match. I honestly, I don't think I have any redeeming things to say about this game. So
So you just hopped in, got a little taste,
instantly
just
hated it.
essentially see what the game looked like,
Yeah.
and then just bailed. Okay,
Yeah.
that's interesting. But that's your impression.
Yeah.
You had no interest in playing it. At least you tried it though, because it would kind of suck if you just didn't play it at all.
Yeah.
I mean, that's fair. Not your type of game. And there's nothing positive about it for you.
Nothing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, this episode's going to be nice and brief, nice and short, nice and effective.
At the very least, this topic.
Yeah, no, it's cool. So I actually did like this game. I don't like the visual aesthetic. It's clean looking, so it's not a bad looking game. But I'm just like, we talk about it all the time. I'm not into the cartoony looking games anymore. And maybe if we take a break for a while from like these vibrant, for everyone style games visually, I'll learn to like it again. But it's just so constant that like it's so transparent what you're trying to go for when your game looks like this. So yeah, not a big fan of the visuals, but they're not bad visuals. They're just not interesting at all. This game, I wouldn't say is like mobile feeling, but it does feel, or at least it looks kind of lower budget. Not quite. I don't know. Didn't even pay attention to who made it, but yeah, it feels like maybe indie developed or whatever, which is fine. So where the game shined for me though is I actually think the combat was really good. It's really fluid. I played multiple matches, many matches, and my favorite character that I played, you'll probably see him in the footage. Am I pointing in the right direction? There we go. I don't remember his name, but he's like this Japanese dude who uses like tornadoes and stuff, and he was a lot of fun to play. I like that there's light and heavy attacks, what you expect. So you're just kind of hitting people, drilling into them, building up their percentages. But then a lot of his moves just kind of manipulated people, kind of pushed them away, kind of like grabbed them and threw them. And then his ultimate move puts a circle on the ground. And anyone who's in the circle when you complete the move gets sucked into the center of his tornado and then gets launched, which was a lot of fun trying to get that timing down. Then when I checked his character, he's rated as like a more skilled character. And I was like, oh, interesting. So I kind of liked... you get creative with his moves a little bit. The arenas are serviceable. They're nothing special, but some of them have like things happening in them. Like one of the arenas has this ball that rolls through once in a while and it'll hit people. And I kind of like that it has things that happen like that keep things dynamic feeling. And then one of the maps too, I think parts of it drop. I don't remember, but something happened with it. Maybe it shakes. I don't remember. It's like this lava place maybe. I might be misremembering this completely. But that was pretty neat. And I actually really liked the gameplay. I didn't think I was going to like this game in terms of gameplay as much as I did. And I could actually see, this is the thing that's kind of fucked up. I could actually see myself playing this game fairly regularly because I thought the gameplay was really good. But when I started looking at like the progression and the things you're unlocking, the cosmetics, they felt like cheap and like expected, and what like any single game that looks like this or is like this is gonna offer you. There's nothing exciting about it. I did like that, like multiverses. It seems like you unlock as you level your character new abilities you can swap in. I really like that system. It keeps the game competitive. It's not overly complicated, so you can get like some crazy build, but it's enough to make my character feel a little different than yours. So I liked that aspect. But the unlocking of cosmetics and stuff, they're not even like that interesting looking. And then it has this huge shop. It just is like, hey, go buy stuff. I'm like, no. This ain't that kind of game. Like, I'm not going to be spending my time here that much. I'm not buying your stuff. And that's where all the cooler stuff looks. That's where all the cooler stuff is at. I think I was trying to say cooler looking stuff is at. So yeah, the incentive to keep playing and the way to get the better looking stuff is not my cup of tea. But the gameplay is actually a lot of fun. And I kind of wish I would have played this with other people, because I feel like if you had a team of people you're playing with regularly, you could have a lot of fun with it. I don't know if I'm going to uninstall this just yet because I do enjoy it, but I just feel like I'm if I play it too much, I'm going to be wasting my time with it, because I could be putting that time into something else where I feel it feels more gratifying with whatever I'm progressing towards. Whereas in this, it's like kind of vacant. But But yeah, they got a good combat system. Gameplay's good, and it was much better than I was expecting. So, yeah, overall, not too bad. It's not amazing, but it's a little better than I thought. So, yeah. All right. So, do you have any recommendations?
I mean, yeah, if you're into stuff like Power Stone or it doesn't play like Smash Bros, but games like Smash Bros, it has a similar like, I guess, idea outside of the perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Any other kinds of like brawling style fighters. Yeah, moves with cooldowns and stuff like that. If any of that's appealing to you, playing in a multi-person fighting-esque style game, yeah, I'd probably say give it a shot.
Kind of reminded me of Smite when it came to the characters. Which I thought was interesting. So, like, if you're into the idea of playing as like gods in different cultures, that might be something you would want to play this game for, even though they're like all kind of the same looking, kind of like Funko Pops all look the same with like different clothes. But yeah, I agree with that. If you're into brawlers, multiplayer brawlers, if you're looking for a game that's similar to Power Stone from back in the day, it's not quite the same, but it's about as close you're gonna get nowadays. And then platform fighters, I would definitely recommend to that. If you're into fighters where you can actually change out your abilities and perks, it's not a lot, but you can. I would recommend it to you. And I mean, it is what it is. It doesn't really. It's not going to pull other people in. I don't think. So yeah, I think you pretty much nailed it.
Okay.
And one thing too, when you kind of brought up like Smash Bros and stuff, I kind of liked the layout and format of this better than the 2D perspective for this kind of game. So I would like to see this game either become more robust or a better, higher quality game like this come out, because I kind of just realized I enjoyed hitting people and making them fly out of the ring in a 3D way. It's kind of neat. So
I
anyway,
also tend to prefer 3D fighters. So
true. That is true. I like 3 dimensions. So yeah, if that sounds interesting to you, check it out. All right. Well, you did everything first, so I'll grade it.
Okay.
I'm gonna give it a really light, weak, just can't even pick itself up off the floor, B-. I enjoyed it. It's almost a C territory for me, but I thought the gameplay was actually a lot of fun. And so for that, because it surprised me, it's a very weak B-. Outside of that, it does feel kind of soulless, but the gameplay's solid. Played good. I didn't feel like anything felt unfair. It was gratifying when I hit people and they went flying, and the maps have obstacles and stuff. So at least it's not just a flat plane. They put some work into it. So very light B-.
yeah, I'm gonna give it a C-. It's not really what my heart is telling me on it, but I'm trying to be objective about it. I do think gameplay's fine, with some minor gripes in that field, and I also think the style is very generic. So I'm gonna give it a C-. On a personal level, I give it an F. So
Yeah. Well, given how little you played it, it sounded like an F to me.
so
So you said C-?
C-.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like the B- is like higher than the game deserves, but like I was having fun, so that's fucking what matters.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So let us know in the comments what you guys think of Divine Knockout. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Why didn't you like it if you didn't like it? If you liked it, what'd you like about it? Who'd you play as? And what's your favorite Smash like? Let me know in the comments below. Next game we played, let's go with Mass Effect Legendary Edition. If you didn't get a chance to play Mass Effect Legendary Edition, it is the complete trilogy, all redone. Is it a remaster or is it a remake? I know
I think both.
I think I watched a video seeing what they really did with at least the original game, and like they like rebuilt the environments and stuff.
Yeah, I'll say I think it depends on which game we're talking about when you ask that question.
Yeah, they put more work into the original because it's the oldest game. But anyway, regardless of all that, we'll talk about it. It is the original trilogy redone. Everything looks better graphically. They've enhanced the textures. They've added all sorts of stuff when it comes to the visuals, lighting, stuff like that. I don't know if they did a whole lot with systems in the game. I heard with Mass Effect they tried to modernize the gameplay in it, and yeah, it's all 3 games. I'm not going to tell you like the story of each game because at this point in gaming, if you don't know what Mass Effect is, I would just recommend you right now go check them out. But yeah, all 3 games redone, better graphics, and yeah, we both played it, and yeah, this review won't necessarily be of, I mean, it will be of Mass Effect, but really I was just kind of playing it to see what they did, because I've played the original Mass Effect, I've played Mass Effect 2 multiple times. I've never beaten Mass Effect 3. I played it for like, I think 3 or 4 hours when I originally played those games, so that's where I'm coming from when it comes to this. And in case you're curious, Mass Effect 2 is definitely my favorite one, but that's not a big surprise. Even though you talk to people every once in a while and they say the original one's their favorite too.
I think the first one feels more like a role-playing game.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah.
Kind of like, oh no, their other game.
Dragon Age.
Dragon Age.
Yeah.
Yeah, what a fucking waste.
Bro, Dragon Age 1 is so good.
Yeah, yeah. And a lot of people say that with Mass Effect. So, what I did, this sucks. Obviously, you know, with Christmas, all that stuff, schedule's been kind of busy, so I didn't get to play this as much as I wanted, but I also played it more than I thought I was going to play it. But my original plan was I wanted to dip into all 3 of the games to see how they look and how they play. And from what I gather, I watched some videos on the comparisons. I guess 2 and 3 feel a lot similar to how they were originally. They just look a little better, but the original one is where it actually shows. So that's the one I played. And for transparency's sake, I always have thought that Mass Effect has an awesome story and an awesome world, but I hated playing the original Mass Effect. I thought it felt fucking horrible. This is also young me's opinion back in the day. That game came out a long time ago. I remember playing it, I was like, I hate this.
I feel like it was a little clunky even then, though.
Sure, yeah. And I don't take that back, but whatever they did with this, I was like, I'm going to dive in for like an hour or 2 and check it out. I kept playing this. And it wasn't even because of the gameplay necessarily, although I didn't have complaints. It just felt a little older at this point, but it actually played just fine. The story is like really interesting. I started playing it and I was like, oh yeah, I forgot like Mass Effect has like an awesome fucking story and an awesome world with awesome characters. Like I was like, I completely forgot the writing was that good. It's crazy. I was playing it and Sarah was kind of watching me play and I was like, they don't make games like this anymore. No one writes a game this good.
Yeah.
It was so crazy. So, anyway, that's part of my impressions is I was reminded of what we lost when those guys bailed from BioWare because everybody was pissed at them. So yeah, anyway, I played the original Mass Effect, I think for like 6 or 7 hours. Kept playing it. It looks clean. It looks good. It still looks pretty old, but you can tell they really upgraded it because like the armor has like details they didn't have before. You can see like carbon fiber and stuff in it, which is pretty neat. Guns are also way too loud, but sound really good. The audio's definitely been enhanced. The story's great. That was my opinion before. That's my opinion here. The dialogue of the characters when they're talking and the actual choices that you can make, like people aren't doing that anymore. That's an old game, and I'm like,
Laren is, but yeah.
Sure, Larian's doing it. Witcher 3, that was a while ago at this point. And I'm just like, what the hell happened? People were ambitious enough to do this back then. I was like listening to the characters talk, and then I'd make my decision on what I wanted to say, and then the conversation would like evolve, and I was like, man, I forgot how dope this is. I didn't even appreciate it as much back then as I do now. So yeah, it was really interesting and really, I don't know, it's such a refreshing experience to go like, oh man, I miss games like this. It's so weird how EA does this with all their franchises. They start out really strong. Everyone's like, dude, this is dope. EA made this? Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
And then the second one comes out and people are like, wow. Sometimes people are like, oh, this is better or this is worse, depending on what it is. But then by the third game, they fucking botch it. Every single time. Like, what the hell's up with that?
Can't do 3.
It's weird. That's why Valve won't touch Half-Life 3.
They They did make a third Half-Life, but all right.
That is true. But yeah, gameplay was good. It feels old, and the control scheme is so old feeling. It's so archaic. I was like, why is that crouch?
Yeah.
Also, the cover system is not as good as it could be, but it's an older game, so I'm trying to excuse this, but also acknowledge that these were things I thought about. Dialogue is still really good. It's like that Mass Effect and like Witcher were just like the peak of that, and then everyone just gave up. So I don't think there's really a whole lot better. I mean, Mass Effect definitely got better with that, especially in 2, but it was really good. The sci-fi is awesome. The world is awesome, even for a game this old at this point. I was like running around. I'm like, this is so imaginative. I forgot how cool everything is in this game. And they just drop a bunch of characters on you right in the beginning. I forgot about that too. I was like, I got so many choices for characters. It's so weird. I kind of forgot about Mass Effect, but I also kind of like was remembering everything that was happening to him. Like these are like unlocked memories all of a sudden that I just had locked away in my head. So anyway, long story short, I'm not going to sit here and just keep gushing. Although I kind of brought up that it feels kind of clunky in the way it plays, and the AI is not that great. It's an older game though. And it's an RPG, so it's like it's not a shooter. So I know later they started becoming more like shooters, but this definitely feels pretty RPG like. But overall, I really enjoyed it. I kind of humored that I was like, maybe I should go through the trilogy again. Been a long time, and if I feel this way about the original Mass Effect, which is a game I've for years just went like, I don't like playing that game. I can only imagine playing through 2 would be a pleasure because I beat that multiple times, and maybe dip my toe in 3. I guess there were some DLCs they released for that later that fixed all the problems people had with it, but I don't know. Let me know in the comments if you have an opinion on that. And then the overall package is awesome. You get all 3 games in one place. That's really cool. And I think they did correct me, or not even correct me. If you have a different opinion, let me know if there's something that's missing or something like that. I didn't see it, but they felt respectful. Didn't feel like they did like a whole lot to change things. They just enhanced the visuals and the sound. And I guess modernize some stuff with the gameplay when it comes to the first game, but I don't remember what they did with that.
This shooting definitely feels more shooter-esque than
It does.
it used to.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I remember when I played the original one, I'd shoot at dude and just be missing nonstop, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, it's not like that.
Yeah.
No.
But overall, really, really great package. I didn't play the other 2 games, but they're there, and I was enjoying myself a lot, and I just kind of lamented the loss of games like this. Like wherever those guys went who were responsible for those games, like get them back. Like, can we get them back? It's crazy. Like the game feels so, for how old it is, ambitious. Feels like people had like this big idea of what a sci-fi RPG could be like, and they nailed it.
Also, the credits playing was that M2 fonts or whatever?
Fonts M2 Mark II.
Yeah, Mark II. Yeah, I still listen to it to this day. So
that was a great song for sure. Yeah. But yeah, great experience. I had a blast playing it.
Yeah. You good?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
I thought you were just gonna agree with everything.
I mean,
you said.
I do actually. I think pretty much everything you said is pretty much spot on. Only thing I can really kind of add is my history with Mass Effect. I've beaten Mass Effect 1 and 2 multiple times each, on PC and console. So I've experienced with this game kind of all over the place. I owned it on Steam. I owned it on Origin when they forced me to go over to Origin.
Forgot about Origin.
Yeah, because they originally what they did is if you had serial keys, because they took it off Steam for a little bit, they just took them and you could transfer it over to Origin or whatever. So I remember playing it over there.
It was kind of, this ain't Taste Cast, but what's kind of amazing is everybody who left Steam has come back.
Imagine that.
Like everybody tried to, like Ubisoft, everybody's like, well, we're taking our game somewhere else, and now they're also like groveling, coming back, going like, okay, let us sell on here again, and I was like, okay.
Well, yeah, they don't care. They're just a store,
Yeah,
right?
It's crazy.
So, Yeah,
Though
it is
I do
crazy.
I do respect Epic trying to give them competition.
I respect anyone trying to give them competition, but I wish you luck peeling people away with the libraries they have at this point.
It's like peeling people away from WoW. Like
Yeah.
you've invested this many years in building up your social, your friends list. That's where all your friends are at. That's the biggest thing. People don't want to leave where everybody's at.
Yeah.
But also, all your games built up, all your money invested. Like you can't yank people from that. So
Yeah, it's pretty tricky.
anyway, just mentioned that when you mentioned them getting people to go over to Origin.
Yeah.
And everyone's back.
So similarly, I mostly was just checking out the differences, and I knew most of them were in the first game, so I didn't actually play the second or third one this time around.
So we did the same thing.
But I did play the first one for way longer than I should have, because I looked outside and the sun was coming up, so I was like, oh shit, okay. So
like I said, dude, I was like, I'm gonna like check it out and see what they did, what's new, and then I kept playing it, and then I realized I liked the game more than I thought I did through this. And I was like, oh shit.
I don't think the menu system aged well.
No.
This is going to be my big complaint. The menu system's awful.
Yeah.
But the game itself still is a lot of fun. I like that even though, you're essentially running down hallways, there are little nooks and crannies to get like random pieces of loot. There's different ways to handle that, whether that is like from hacking or, negotiating with people, whether that's like you being nice or you're being, more of a dick about it type of deal. I always really like that kind of stuff. And for the time they did it, it was very impressive. So, that being said, I do think the game feels a lot better than it did. So that's a good thing, because I've always said I really like Mass Effect 1 and 2. I just think 2 is just a better overall game.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of the sweet spot. I think they went too far to the shooter route with Mass Effect 3. 2 feels like, I mean, I've kind of said this multiple times now. Mass Effect 2 is like one of my personal favorite Western RPGs of all time. So,
yeah, it's really good.
yeah, it kind of bums me out that I kind of like shy away from Western RPGs now, because I think most of them are meh. So,
Well, they also want to be Skyrim.
yeah, and I just think it's kind of boring. So, so yeah. Anyways, you said a bunch of stuff there that I agree with. Like, I don't have any like counters to that. It was pretty much exactly what I was gonna say, so I'm just gonna say I agree with that. The only thing, on a personal level, is I would prefer to play it on a mouse, but that's nothing new. So, for what we got here, which was a PlayStation Plus game, plays great.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I got no complaints either. Even with how the crouching and the cover system feel like clunky, it worked.
Terrible menus.
Yeah,
terrible
for
menus.
sure.
But it's an old game. So
Yeah, all my
I will
complaints of
forgive
this is age, and I can't dock it points because
it for being old.
yeah, it's just an older game, so
Yeah,
it's whatever. All right, anything else?
that's pretty much it. Yeah.
All right, recommendations. If you haven't played Mass Effect,
Please
you should
do.
play it.
Yeah.
All three of them are here. Just start playing it. It plays Mass Effect 1 plays better than it did, so at least you'll have that going for you on your introduction to the series. But if you get into the story, you got a lot of game to play with all three of these games. It does have a full story with a beginning and end for the whole thing, and
A character that your save connects to each game, and
Carries
choices
over, yeah.
that you have made do carry over. So
which is awesome. Like, that's so ambitious. I wish more games did that now. So yeah, I would recommend it to you first and foremost. If you're just like, oh, I never played Mass Effect, well, here it is. You should check it out. Even if, here's some loose recommendations, even if you're only into RPGs, you're only into shooters, it's both pretty much. So you can come over and check it out. And if you're only into shooters, it might satisfy you still. And if you're only into RPGs, you should have already played this game. But definitely check it out for that, because it's an interesting hybrid of the two that I think satisfies both areas. So yeah, if you're into games, if you're into sci-fi games, I think it's definitely one of the best like AAA like sci-fi RPGs to ever exist. If you're into RPGs with like choice and dialogue, the BioWare kind of created the standard for that. So, and I think Mass Effect is probably one of their best examples of that. So if you like long dialogue where people are having conversations where you actually have input on that, definitely play it for that. It's a lot of the game. When I was playing this, I was like, I forgot how long it goes without you actually shooting things sometimes, but it's still awesome. And you get XP for doing other things too. So you are being rewarded for your, time investment, which is nice. Yeah, I already said sci-fi, but I'll re-emphasize that. I was looking at all the alien types, and I was like, these are really neat. They're all really neat. This doesn't just feel like it's trying to be like Star Wars or Star Trek. It's got its own vibe, which I really dig. That's the weird thing about Mass Effect, is it feels like its own thing. It kind of owns its own sci-fi. Obviously inspired by a lot of things, but
especially in the second game, there's just so many places you go with so many different types of people. So
yeah. Got any recommendations?
I mean, I kind of said it on the save thing, but if you like the idea of your character just kind of existing throughout an entire, 3-game story.
Yeah, saga of your character.
Yeah, that's what it is, and that includes characters can die, and they'll be dead in the next game if you killed them off in the previous game. So, and even characters that are not playable in a sequel, those relationship things still happen with that person, and there will be flavor conversation that happens depending on your choices in previous game stuff. So if that sounds cool to you, you should check it out for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think you pretty much covered it. Otherwise,
yeah, I can't recommend it to everybody, but I think a lot of people, if they haven't played it for some reason, should check it out.
And they're not short games, so if you like something with some meat on the bone,
that's kind of the crazy thing about this trilogy is all three
of
them.
Game.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So, yeah,
I
would say just try it.
Yeah, I agree with that. Anything else?
Nope.
Grade it.
I'm gonna give it an A-. They did go back and retouch up the first game, and I kind of wish they would have redone the menus. So that's the only reason I can't go any higher.
You just don't want to revisit that.
It's so bad.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Otherwise, the game, plays good. And I could see myself sitting down playing again. And the only reason I'm not is because I got other crap I want to play. Because I was tempted to keep playing it. So.
Yeah, it was sucking me in. I'm like, there's games I need to be playing now though, that came out. I played this already, but I was like, I forgot how good this shit is. Yeah. So A-. I'm gonna go with an A. I really liked it. It felt respectful to the original games while making it look better, more playable. All 3 games are there. It's plenty of content, and I'm obviously grading the package that we got, but also these are 3 legendary games, and at least 2 of them are amazing, and everyone loves them, including me. Third one I never played really, so I play a little bit, but so I can't really talk on that too much.
It for a reason.
Yeah, but yeah, it's kind of undeniable. So it's hard for me not to give it somewhere in the A range. But just how much they nailed this, I think deserves the extra credit. They could have fucked it up, and for me, they didn't. So yeah, A. Can't go A+ though, because it's not perfect, and there are some older archaic systems that are not my favorite. So yeah, there could be room for improvement if they wanted to do that, but I respect that they wanted to keep it the same. So yeah, easy A. Really, really great. Crazy package that I recommend to many people.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let us know in the comments what you guys think of the Mass Effect Legendary Edition. Is this your first time playing Mass Effect? If it's not, what do you think of the Mass Effect series? What's your favorite one? What's your least favorite one? And what are your impressions of how they handled this remake of the 3 games? Do you like what they did? Do you not like what they did? Let me know everything you think about in the comments below when it comes to Mass Effect Legendary Edition. Last game we played this month was Biomutant. In Biomutant, you play a little fuzzy thing that you create in a character creator that changes the way your character looks. It is an RPG, an action RPG, an open world action RPG, where you essentially run around a map doing missions for tribes. You get to pick one, and you get to, I think you can change them any time. I never did that. But yeah, you run around and do missions for them in this, what seems to be post human world. It is has a lock-on system in combat. You do certain attacks. You get abilities. You can set up to buttons like dashes that leave fire behind you, being able to throw poison, putting poison on the ground. You can do kind of different kinds of light builds. There's gear in the game that changes stats. Yeah, it's a colorful, weird world to explore, with big boss battles, and yeah, we both played it. And let's go with you on your impressions of Biomutant.
Okay. So I sat down. I played this for quite a while. And I definitely have some mixed feelings on this game.
Bro, I feel that.
So I first and foremost want to say I think this game is full of really cool ideas. I love the crafting system. I love the armor and the weapons and stuff like that. I think that you can like customize it and actually changes the appearance of everything and be able to put like a weapon stock with the base and the barrel and the scope and all that stuff. Really cool system. I really like that a lot. I also like that you can do that with the armor by putting little random, tidbits here and there. You get different stats from that as well. And then your character starts looking like pretty crazy with that. I like that system a lot. I wish more games would do stuff like that.
This game has a lot of really cool ideas.
It does.
Yeah.
I also like the idea of your mutant basically looking different depending on like what stats you basically started out with, right? I think the world is interesting. I liked talking to the tribes and stuff, which turns into a mixed bag as well, because I also feel like Tribe A, everyone looks exactly the same. Tribe B, everyone looks exactly the same. Like they're so like, this is my archetype. This is who we all are. This is my archetype. This is who we all are. And then you kind of get into this weird place where like questing is super uninspired feeling. It's really really just cut and dry. And then like, especially because I did the entire first like 2 tribe thing until I completely took over one tribe and moved on to the second set of tribes. And then I was like, okay, I know how I feel about this game. So it starts feeling way too formulaic. Which I started getting bored of really fast, which bummed me out because I was enjoying a lot of like the exploration aspects of the game and the systems of the game. But between the real formulaic questing and then the controls just being like super clunky feeling.
Yeah.
I was constantly struggling with myself. Do I keep playing out of the enjoyment of the stuff that's in the game or not? Because I'm not like, once I'm actually having to like fight things or listen to the like what generic quests I gotta do next, I'm not having as much fun in that regard. So I don't know, it was a kind of a mixed bag for me. I would say I hope that if they make another game they kind of clean it up a bit and make the quests less I don't know how to word it. It was okay. It was like totally an okay game, but it has some pretty heavy weaknesses in my opinion. So
Yeah, the game's ideas first and like gameplay second. It's weird because like when I was playing this, I was constantly going like, "Oh, that's really neat. That's really neat. That's really neat." And then I'd play it. And I'm like, "Man, this game doesn't play that great." And like the quality's not that great. Like I kind of equate it to like the ambition is more than what they're capable of delivering. It feels like if you went to school for game development, you go to college or whatever for game development, this would be like a project they made while at school, because it feels like it feels like a full vision, but they just don't have like the know-how, the money, or the resources to deliver on that vision, or the experience to deliver on that vision. I don't know what games these guys have made before this, but like it just feels like it's just all ideas, but like they're like, I don't know how we really do this, and they kind of like only kind of half did, not out of like lack of ambition to want to do it, but they just couldn't do it for whatever reason. That's what the game constantly felt like to me, because like it obviously has an identity. You look at Biomutant, it's Biomutant. Like it doesn't look like another game. So they have like a visual identity, and I actually really kind of like that you play this like weird, furry, like little monster guy who runs
right,
on all
right.
fours when you run. And like it just has like a really unique feeling to it. I thought the character creation was neat. I thought the classes were neat. I do like that everything that you put on changed the character. Like it literally has everything in a game like this that I would want from the game. The gameplay just was not. It wasn't even like middle of the road when it comes to like being decent. It was like kind of not great. I don't think it was super responsive. It works. I was killing things. I was hitting things, but like it's got the Batman system where like you're trying to like wait for the little thing to pop up above their head before you can like dodge or counter or whatever.
Not if you don't give them a chance, you just bonk them. But yeah,
Yeah, well, that's what I ended up doing. I
Me
just hit
too.
everybody because like the system just didn't feel that great. It wasn't super intuitive, and I appreciate that they even tried to do it, but they just did not nail it.
yeah.
You're clipping through a lot of things constantly too. Like everything just feels like it's like kind of visually there, but like not really. I was surprised on how big the world was when I
Yeah.
was running around exploring. Like I was like, this is actually like it's kind of crazy. Like the game's quality is like not amazing, but they were like, we're gonna make an open world game. It's like holy shit, you didn't have to do. You could have just made like a more linear game and put more time into like the story and all that stuff, and still maintain all the RPG aspects of it. So yeah, the character creation's cool. The character design's cool. The world has an identity that I think is really neat. Even the enemies and the big bosses and stuff, they're all like these fuzzy enemies. It just has like this really unique feeling that I kind of liked. The tribes I thought was a kind of a neat thing because it kind of reminds me of like Far Cry where you like just run around and do whatever the hell.
Definitely feels like that.
But that you're choosing like a faction to work for essentially. It works. It's a formula that works. It's not exciting, but it's there. But I did like that when you finish certain things with those tribes, you got tribe specific stuff. Like when I was doing quests for the dudes who look like they're just like ninjas or whatever. I ended up getting a bow staff
The
from
evil
them.
feeling dudes. Yeah.
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 I got a bow staff from them that I didn't find anywhere. I was like, oh, cool, whole new weapon. There's abilities you unlock. I'm not in love with the system where you unlock them, where you got to spend like 1 point here. It like you go into the menus to start unlocking things. It feels really clunky. I have to go over to this tab to unlock things
So
here
many
with
categories.
This,
Yeah.
yeah, with this kind of like I don't want to say currency, but like this upgrade material, and then I have to go over here and use these upgrade materials, and some of them are just held back by like you need 3 to do this, and I'm like. You already don't have very many things for me to unlock, and like you want me to have 3 for that this early in the game. I feel like it's like I don't know. I wasn't excited to level up, which sucks because like that's a huge thing for me. I love leveling up in the game and getting new things, and again, feels like they bit off more than they could chew. So yeah, big open world though, really interesting. Not super exciting to explore, but I thought it looked pretty nice. A lot of diverse areas too. You're going into sewers and underground. You're going around on, the ground, going through, bases and stuff, fighting things. Combat's just not that great though. It's not awesome. And I like that you do get abilities, but the abilities don't feel great. They don't have like a whole lot of feedback to feel like they're really doing much. Like I had an ability where I was shooting around 3 times and I could leave stuff behind me, and enemies a lot of times wouldn't even like walk through it or like do anything with it, so it just kind of like was more of a dodge for me than anything. And of course, like if you dodge through someone, you're doing that to them, but like they're really good about just staying out of it, which they should. The AI should want to stay alive, but it just felt kind of useless. I didn't really ever feel like I needed to use it. I would just go like I should just use this because I have it. Just like the acid pool you could leave at your feet. It wasn't exciting or fun, but I would use it when I was just wailing on somebody. I would just leave it on the ground, and they would just take damage from the toxic damage, or whatever the hell it's called, while I'd hit them. So the abilities were they had their use, but they weren't like exciting or fun.
Yeah, I didn't find myself using them.
Yeah,
I literally made like a really huge hammer and just bonked everything.
yeah.
So
Yeah, I ran around with the staff. At first, I picked the class that has the daggers, the dual-wielded daggers, and that was pretty fun for a second there. But once I got the staff, I was like, I want to use this, and it just killed things faster anyway. So I'm like, I'm gonna stick with this.
yeah.
And yeah, running around and finding like random things to do was kind of interesting. You'd see people who were being like held hostage or whatever, and you would help them, or something like that. These people were being captured, and it was like you can help them. It also has a, I didn't really get to see how far it goes, but it has a morality system, a basic one, where you can do like light or dark things. And it's kind of interesting. You have like these little like on your shoulders, devil and angel type thing going on.
Conscience.
Yeah. And anytime you pick a dark thing, they'll like interact with each other. Like the light one will be like, "Oh, you shouldn't have done that," and the other one will like hit it. So there's like character there that I think is kind of neat. But I didn't see the extent of where that went. I was going all full on just evil, doing bad
Same.
stuff. And it kind of reminded me of Fable, which was kind of nice because I feel like we should have a new Fable by now, and we don't. So kind of like,
Yeah, talk to Microsoft about that one.
yeah. All in all, though, I feel so conflicted with this game because like I think there's like some really cool stuff here that just wasn't executed well. If this game was executed in a way that I thought was like more fun and made more sense, I feel like I'd be really excited about this game because it has so many factors that is super important. They're doing all they wanted to do all the right things for a game like this, but they didn't nail it in the playability, and that's the most important thing about a video game is when you play the game. And so it's really rough for me to think about it in a review sense. I admire the ambition, but they just didn't nail it. It's like someone's like, "I'm gonna cook for you. I got this really cool recipe I'm gonna make," and then it's like tastes bad, and you're like, "Fuck." That's what it kind of feels like. But I admire that they tried, and I would like them. I hope they made enough money to make a Biomutant 2 that they can improve upon because they got some really. That I'm even saying it has like an identity is wild because this game could just be generic game fucking 156, but it definitely has. You look at it, you're like that's Biomutant, and it has ideas that's like this could be awesome if maybe you got some new people on the team to really spice up certain aspects and make the gameplay a little more fun because you got something going here. So anyway, I kind of liked it, but I really loved a lot of the ideas. Really fucking weird. It's a weird feeling. When I was playing, I was like, I don't know if I like this.
Yeah,
game.
I was confused the whole time I was playing too. I think that was part of the what contributed to me like sitting in for so long, especially like my first play session because I was just like, how do I feel about this?
Yeah, it's weird.
It's like
with Divine Knockout, I'm like, yeah, it's fun. It's not great.
I
But
knew
it's fun.
instantly. Yeah,
Yeah, but I had definitive thought on it. But this
Yeah.
game, I'm like, I really like and really dislike certain things about it. But the
Yeah.
things I dislike, I'm not even like upset about. I just feel like they couldn't do it. It's so weird. So
it is. Yeah, for sure. I agree with that.
yeah, I won't drive that point home anymore though, because I keep talking about that. It's just so confusing. So anyway, that's my impressions.
Yeah.
Got anything to add to that?
I mean, not really. I think when you said Far Cry, I feel like that's a little too on the nose, to be honest. So
Yeah, I mean, it follows a basic Ubisoft style
yeah,
open world format, which I mean, if you're an indie developer trying to get a game to sell, why wouldn't you emulate that?
yeah. Maybe if you do make a sequel, though, don't do that.
Get a little more creative in
Yeah.
like what you can do in that world.
For
But
sure. Yeah. But yeah.
Recommendations.
If you like open world games, specifically like Western RPGs, you like the idea of customizing your character's appearance and stats through gear crafting and leveling, I would say give it a shot. If you like post-apocalyptic style, like humanity is not there anymore, like ideas, this is that kind of game. Like games that also try to throw like comedy in as well. There's a lot of times where like the dialogue is definitely a little on the goofy side, which is fine. I like that in games as long
I
as
kind of liked that the whole tone of the game was like goofy.
serious with a goofy like
Yeah.
undertone. Yeah, I like that too, because it was consistent. That's why I liked it. If
like
it's
most-
just thrown in, I'm not a big fan.
Yeah,
so.
most big open world RPG type games are like all like grim and dark and
Yeah.
taking themselves serious with a little bit of humor here and there. But this whole game had this like I hesitate to say cartoony feel to it because we just talked about visually cartoony games are kind of annoying, but like it has like this lightheartedness
This
to
doesn't
it.
have that generic cartoon look.
It
this has
yeah,
an identity
exactly
cartoon
100%.
look.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with that.
So, so I give him props on that. If you like exploration in the like the form of like looting, like you can open drawers and find stuff in them. There's like random safes that you have to do puzzles to get into and stuff like that. If that sounds appealing to you as well, I was having a blast with that, at least myself. Yeah, I'd probably recommend you as well. Good and evil systems, though it's a little basic in this game. It's still there.
This is the closest thing you're getting to a modern day Fable, which is kind of sad.
Or Mass Effect.
Yeah.
That's all I can think of right now.
The only thing I could think of is, you know what's really weird?
Huh.
I don't know if you remember this game or not, but playing this game, and it's not even the same kind of game, but it kind of reminded me of the same way I kind of felt about, do you remember Giant Citizen Kabuto for PS2?
Only by name.
That was a game that I played way back in the day on PS2, and I was like, this game's garbage. And then I played it again, and I started kind of liking it,
Oh, funny.
but it wasn't well made. And I feel kind of like that with this. So if you're somebody who's like curious about weird, one-off, bizarre games that have like this, just like kind of like a story in itself that they even exist, that they got made. Maybe you'll play for the novelty of it, the curiosity of it. Like, oh, this weird gem that definitely has weaknesses, but also has some stuff to it that's kind of interesting. Maybe you're someone who likes to sift through the world of gaming and find those weird games. I would recommend this to you because it's like, it's weird this game exists. I'm actually happy it does, even though I didn't really enjoy the gameplay of it. It's really neat that that somebody made it.
Yeah.
Like, and I emphasize again, it has an identity. They thought about it, so like that's cool. But it's like, yeah. Anyway, if you're like looking for weird little one-off games that just kind of have a story itself for gaming, I think this is a game you should definitely check out because it's interesting, to say the least. So yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No.
All right, so grades. I'll go first this time, and I'm so conflicted.
I got mine pretty locked in, to be honest.
Well, I keep thinking of one that keeps reoccurring to me, but I feel like it's almost too low. But I think I'm gonna go with it. I'm gonna give it a C plus. And that's a regretful C plus. I want to give it higher. If I was grading this purely off of the ideas and the identity of it, I'd probably give it a B plus. But because like I didn't enjoy the gameplay, but I enjoyed everything else about it, and it feels just a little undercooked, I have to give it a C plus because at the end of the day, I got to be able to play the game, and the gameplay just was not there. It wasn't even bad. It just wasn't there. It wasn't there enough for me to keep wanting to play it, especially when I, in certain ways, wanted to keep playing this game because of the ideas and stuff. But the thing that was holding me back was the core gameplay.
Yeah.
It just kind of sucks. So yeah, if I'm grading the whole package, C plus. But again, I just want to emphasize it's a B plus in terms of like the ambition and the ideas. I think they have some really cool stuff here. I'd like to see them either patch this game and make it better, or make a second game and refine it.
Yeah, I'm actually very close to you on this. Surprise, surprise. Mm-hmm. I'm giving it a B minus. It inches a little out of C for me just because I do think my initial impression of the game was that it was going to be really bad. By looking at it, I judged the book by its cover and was proven kind of wrong. So I'm gonna bump it up a little for that. I think it has a lot of redeeming qualities, but I think it also equally a lot of stuff I don't like as well. It's a weird spot for a game to be in for me, but I do really love the creativity and the originality of it in its themes and stuff. I like that a lot. So I'll give it a B minus.
I wanted to give it a B minus. That was what I kept logically thinking, but then like my gut kept telling me I have to give it a C plus because Divine Knockout is the exact opposite of this game. Divine Knockout is like, does not have interesting ideas, is not doing anything creative, does not have an identity. but the gameplay was fun
Yeah.
for me. And so in this game is the opposite, where I'm like, I admire what they did with the ideas, but the gameplay wasn't fun. So I'm like, I can't really put them on an equal footing if like actually enjoyed playing one versus the other. So I had to drop it down to a C+. But with room for me to want it to improve, I want the game to be fun and cool. So it's a regretful C+. But yeah, I feel the B- for sure. I almost did it myself. Let us know in the comments what you guys think of Biomutant. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Are you kind of where we're at? Are you kind of confused on like, do I like it? Do I not like it? Maybe you full on liked it. What do you like about it? What?
I saw people were excited that it was one of the games. So
Yeah. It's a weird one. Even when it was getting reviewed, people were essentially kind of saying what we're saying.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, it's got these cool ideas, but fall short here. So yeah, I get that. So if you are really into the game, let me know why you're into it. I'm not here to change your opinion on it. Tell me what you liked about it, and if you don't like the game, again, also tell me what you didn't like about it. If you hate this game, I'm not going to sit here and try and change your opinion on it. Just tell me. I'm interested in your opinions on the game, and what kind of Biomutant did you make? What kind of weapons did you use? What tribe did you go with at first? And should I give it a second chance? Should I play it further? Maybe it gets like really good later. Let me know what you think in the comments below when it comes to that and all the games that we talked about. But that's going to do it for this episode of Plus Club for December and the last episode of the year. As always, thank you for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this episode. Make sure to check out our other episodes. Check us out on our socials and streams, link down below. Check out our Discord, link down below. You can talk to us anytime, all the time. We're on iTunes, Spotify, and other podcast platforms if you prefer to listen to us in audio form. And we have a Patreon if you'd like to support the channel more than liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. If you're brand new, I have a TikTok link down below. I do little clips there if you want to watch those. And yeah, I think that's about everything. It's been an awesome year with you guys. So I look forward to next year with you guys. And if you guys are getting wild for New Year's, stay safe. I've been Seth. This has been Chevy. Chevy, stay safe. And until the next episode in the next year, have a good one, guys, and take it easy.